What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm going to be trying something completely different. I'm going to venture off the skiing path. Well, not technically, because today I am doing a resort review. So this is going to be a new video series, not just on skiing, but I'm going to do a new video series. Occasionally, I'm going to be rating like things I've done, places I've been to. I'm just going to rate the experience, and I'm going to give it a score from 0 to 100. 0 being they don't have it at all. 1 is just terrible, I didn't like it. 5, as you know, is average, and 10 is the best in the world. They have it all, or it's just I really liked it. So it's just kind of different. This video idea is inspired by one of the YouTubers I watch. Yes, it's gonna sound a bit different, but his name is Jonathan Buckhouse. I'm gonna give him a shout out. I'll try to link his video page somewhere in this video, but he has done a great job at doing resort reviews. But I'm going to take a bit different approach, almost do the exact same list, but tweak it a couple of times, and then take it and do new experiences. Like if I ever wanted to rate Hawaii, which is probably coming soon, or rate a food I've been to, or do tier lists, and then rate like in and out, and then rate the experience I've had there based off of just normal categories, and then I'll give it a score. And that could be stars. But anyway, today we're doing Arapahoe Basin, and let's get into the video. So the first category I'm going to be talking about is lift prices. How expensive is it? And for Arapahoe Basin, 89 bucks, or you can buy like a season pass or whatever. They have so many lift options, or price options, I should say. Pretty good deal if you ask me. I really like the place, weird. I've liked the place, and they give me good vibes with what you get for their money. 89 bucks is actually really low compared to a ski resort, because obviously, as you know, there's Copper, your Epic Pass. It is on the Icon Pass, which can make it affordable. So for lift prices, I'm going to give them a 7. Next up on the list is ease of access. How easy is it to get to Arapahoe Basin? And right now, obviously traffic isn't good. Hour and 50 minutes. Usually from my house, hour and a half. From DAA, hour and 40 minutes. It's not a horrible drive, but you're driving I-70, and that can be a nightmare. If you have snow, your trip is almost ruined because you can't go anywhere, because half the time you have cars that don't know what they're doing, and tourists that forget how to drive. Or just not forget, just don't know what they're doing in the snow and the mountain conditions. And if you have to go over Loveland Pass, if that is open, if it's not applicable, you go all the way around through the tunnel and then down through Silverthorne and Keystone. So it can be a little bit difficult, so on the ease of access, I gave them a 4. Next up, we have lodging. Can you stay at Arapahoe Basin? No, you cannot, but I'm not going to give it a 0 because you can stay around it. Like, you can stay in Keystones like condos, you can stay in Silverthorne, like there's tons of options. I believe the resort can give you some options of where to stay. A lot of times their social media will give some shout outs to some good places, so because of that, I'm going to give them a 1. So next up, we have chairlifts. We want to ride the mountain, how we're going to get to it, and Arapahoe Basin actually does a very good job with their chairlifts. I know people are going to hate on the Palavicini lift, or as we call it, Pali. It's a fixed grip 2-seater. They re-upgraded it, so it's a lot nicer, has a bar. A lot of people say they should have put in a 4-seater, which I don't agree with, only because it's just to kind of keep the historic part of it, like the 2-seater, kind of keep the people on the other side of the mountain, because then the 4-seater attracts all the families, and that side is really difficult for people, so it makes sense. They have 2 high speeds now. Lenawee is now upgraded to a 6-chair. I'm excited to try that out soon. But unfortunately, that won't be happening for a week or maybe a couple of weeks, since now we have the Icon Pass, which means we're going to go to different resorts. And that also means new footage from Copper Mountain. That is coming very soon as well. So for chairlifts, overall, you can get up the mountain. You have the Beavers, you have Zuma, you have Lenawee, you have the main chairlift. You have I believe, 2 or 3 surface lifts, which are just like the magic carpets. For beginners, you have the Molly Hogan 4-seater. They do a great job with their lifts. I'm actually going to give them a 6 on the lifts, and I think that is a really good score for the amount of terrain they have to offer. They get you to where you need to go. Next up, we have runs. How fun are the runs at Arapahoe Basin? And I love Arapahoe Basin's runs. although for the fact they can be icy, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Some of the runs can be icy up towards the top of the mountain, but other than that, they usually keep them pretty nice. Like the top of Zuma Bowl, icy, it's not ever fun. You have to get down a little bit and then it gets good, but then the bowl starts to flatten out, so it's usually not as fun. Like you have to go up to the top and then ride it down, and then that's where all the fun begins. Obviously, powder days are completely different. I have never really gotten to experience a true like 6-inch powder day at Arapahoe Basin. I've experienced 2 spring powder days where it's like 2-3 inches in the beavers, and those runs have been really nice. You guys have maybe seen a couple of those videos last year. So for runs, I'm gonna give them a 9. They're not the best in the world because I honestly think that sometimes their bowls, it flattens out really quick and their runs are very short. Next up we have park. So this is where I have no experience in riding park, but I've seen a lot of places where park is a huge thing. Obviously Arapahoe Basin is not a big park, I guess, resort or ski area, but they do offer their beginner park. They put that in last year, and I think it's a nice touch. They also have their early season park and their late season park, which is just their upper mountain park, which stays open the whole year once it's open. Stays open until closing. And then honestly, I'm like, for what you're getting at A Basin, not great, but because the resort is not known for park, I guess it's a decent park. So with all those factors, I don't know park, I'm gonna give it a 3. So next up we have food. You want to eat at Arapahoe Basin? What do you got? And kind of just like looking through their map, or not map, their webpage. You have your main lodge, your main typical lodge food, the 6th Valley Bar and Grill at the bottom. And then you go up to the top, you have your Black Mountain Lodge. It actually has some specialty options, just expensive at resort food, but it's actually really nice because you can get cold food, you can get hot food, you can get really nice like barbecue stuff, which is kind of cool. And then up at the top, wasn't open last year, but it's reopening this year because of renovations. It's, I believe, like more of a French Italian type place, the Il Refuge. I don't know how to say it, but that opened. And then there's a new German place in the middle. I forget what it's called, but it is a new place that just opened with the Lenawee lift because that then opened. So for food, I mean, for what they have, I'm gonna give it a 7. Next up, I'm going to do snow conditions, and this is where it gets controversial because obviously it's gonna vary from East Coast to Midwest to West Coast to like Washington and Alaska. Obviously, Colorado has some of the best snow conditions depending on the time of year in the world. Obviously, in the Midwest, not great snow conditions. East Coast can be ice storms and not good, or it can be a great powder year. And so can the West Coast. They can just be really dry. But I'm going to do this based on the resort and and the amount of snow that they get for what they do. So Arapahoe Basin, 160 runs, a lot of skiable acres, and I guess because it's so high alpine, you kind of expect it to be a bit rough. And like it is a little bit rough. And it's icy at the top, it's nice at the bottom. I mean, but most of the runs that are not at the top and get skied off a lot, if you go to West Wall or if you go into the beavers, not the main 2 runs, going into the trees, if they get a powder day, it's one of the best experiences that you're ever going to get. But they do have a lot of rocks in those areas. So for snow conditions for Arapahoe Basin, I'm going to give them a 6, only because on powder days, it can be pretty empty in like the weekdays, and you can just get lap after lap. Obviously, I have not experienced that, but it'd be really fun too in the weekdays. But a 6 is good, but just be mindful of icy conditions. Next up, we have employees. So this is just my experience and what I've seen with employees, how they act, how they do around people, and what they do in like the lift lines. And honestly, for Arapahoe Basin, I love the employees. I've been there 5 years, 4 years, I don't know how many, and they always seem to have a good vibe. When Lenawee used to the old chair, they bump the chairs. I mean, sometimes in the springtime when it's warm, they're bumping out. I haven't like met an employee and like talked to them and stuff like that, but I've honestly felt like the people there are really nice. The dude that did breakfast the first 2 years we were there, such a nice man. He was always hyped and ready to go. So honestly, for employees, I'm gonna give them a 6. So the last category is going to be my personal experience slash the views and scenery. I'm gonna kind of combine them because my personal experience usually incorporates the views and how I like to ski. So we'll kind of incorporate the views. You can post them right here. Some of the best I've ever, since it's one of the only views I've seen out of 3 resorts. But we went to Copper, so I guess now make it 4. But a Basin, you can, if you go to the top of the mountain, you almost get 360 views. Almost. You get almost, I guess, 180 degree view. But I don't believe you can get a 360 degree view at A Basin unless you go to the hike to the top of Zuma Bowl. Or if you hike to the top of East Wall, which is very difficult. But you can get 360 views at A Basin. You can look at the East Wall, one of the most historic things. You can go look back at Loveland Pass and the mountains that kind of surround where I-70 kind of cuts through on the backside. And then you can also kind of just see Bragg, Keystone, and Silverthorn on the back-ish side. So for views and scenery, because it's one of my only ones that I've seen, I'm going to give it a 10. Or for views and scenery. But then for my personal experience, still a 10. Because it's one of my best places. I always have the most fun there because of Pally, and obviously I've gotten like hurt riding there. I've like had bumps and bruises, but it's just so fun, and I can't give it any score less than a 10. So that is the resort review. So now we're gonna add it up, and in total, Arapahoe Basin got a score of a 69. That is a really good score. It's above average, which for me, I'd rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. Because I'm going to do a little bit different than he did, but I'm going to do 4 out of 5 stars. Really good resort. I have loved it. And this resort is basically for everybody, mainly for your more experienced, more, I guess, advanced rider, because most of their terrain is blues, blacks, double blacks. I mean, it's got everything. You got tree skiing over in the Beavers, you got your bull riding in Zuma in beginning of Pally, and then you got your beginner and just main easy groomers on High Noon, the Black Mountain Express, Molly Hogan. I mean, it's a great experience for all. I've loved it, and soon I will be back at A Basin posting more content. But hopefully I will see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching this Arapahoe Basin Resort review. A bit different. What do you guys think of it? Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in a new Copper video coming soon, or in the next video, whichever one comes first. See ya.